Welcome to the Messerschmitt 109, arch enemy of the Royal Air Force during the Battle of Britain and subsequently for the rest of the Second World War. It was a difficult aeroplane to land. Why does that matter? The answer is it killed an awful lot of pilots on landing, which is not really something you want. Why was that? Because the undercarriage was very narrow, very high and splayed out like that. So it was possible for the aeroplane on landing to go and scrub the landing gear off and would go off into the bushes where it would more than likely explode full of aviation gasoline. But in the hands of an Adolf Galland or people like that, it was a lethal fighter and very fast, very maneuverable. At the beginning of the war, it was a revolutionary aircraft. It had already seen service in the Spanish Civil War, but it was quite clear it was light years ahead of anything else that was in the sky. Now, the Germans very early on decided to put cannons on this aircraft. A cannon, instead of having lots and lots and lots of bullets, a cannon fires one much bigger exploding bullet that goes and does significant damage. Not only that, they took their experiences from the First World War, in which they revolutionized guns by saying an airplane is simply a weapon. You point it at the opposition and you shoot. So in the First World War, they synchronized their guns to fire along the axis of the fuselage. And whoop-de-doo, they did exactly the same thing in the 109. In actual fact, there's a cannon firing through the middle of the engine. It doesn't get much more up close and personal than that. Disadvantages of the ME 109? Quite frankly, if you are a Spitfire pilot in the Battle of Britain, you know that these guys have a problem, because the one thing this airplane doesn't carry is a lot of petrol. So when it took off from its bases in France, it had only 20 minutes of combat time in the combat zone. And not only that, if you bail out, where are you going to bail out after you get shot down? Answer, over England or in the Channel. So you're not going flying for the Luftwaffe again. So the Germans, when they lost airplanes, and even if the pilot wasn't killed, he was nearly always going to be taken prisoner or captured, which was the big blow, because pilots were the big shortage in the war, particularly at the beginning. Now, this airplane actually has slightly worse visibility than the Spitfire, and in addition is much more cramped in the cockpit. And also something you might like to know if you decide to be a German pilot in the war is that, unlike the UK pilots, unlike the Royal Air Force, when you did a tour of duty and did several tours of duty, they took you offline and they rested you, or they turned you into a trainer, and then you went back to the front. Not so in the German Air Force. You flew until you died.